Beef. Oh boy, is this a big one. It's number 37 on the list. Ben Shapiro, the founder of the Daily Wire. So Ben and I have a bit of a history, obviously a bit of a warm and friendly history. When Ben, early in his success journey as a public pundit or public intellectual, when he was first building up the Daily Wire, we were both living out in Los Angeles, and I appeared on his show. I appeared on his Sunday Conversation, I believe, and then I think that was on Fox News. I appeared on that, and I found Ben to be very supportive and interesting and honest, and I liked Ben Shapiro, and I still mostly like Ben Shapiro. But here in recent times, there has been a bit of more beef. And part of this is probably connected to me pivoting, because when I was originally connected with Ben and out in LA, I'm hardcore in the sports lane. I am a culture critic, but I'm hardcore in the sports lane. And people would bring me on their shows, talk about my perspective on sports as it related to the culture. Now, here in the last 3 years, as I have moved into the sports and politics lane and have paid more attention to politics, my opinions about politics have become more nuanced, a bit more provocative, a bit more edgy. And so it maybe 2 years ago, as I got deeper into my America First mindset, I started questioning certain things from certain public intellectuals, and particularly as the Kanye West, Dave Chappelle, these other controversies kept coming up where Kanye would talk about Jewish people, Dave Chappelle would talk about Jewish people, and you could see the friction starting to bubble between Candace Owens and her relationship with Kanye West. And you could see that friction between her and the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro starting to bubble. And I started commenting and writing about my thoughts on all of this, and Kyrie Irving and what went on when he tweeted out that movie poster, Hebrews to Israel or Israel to Hebrews, or I can't remember the name of the movie poster, but I started writing things, and eventually I started questioning, like, hey, what's the agenda here? Is it America first, or does the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro, do they have another priority beyond America? It's a fair question. It's being asked. I, just being who I am, somewhat uninformed and just a straight shooter and just kind of letting the chips letting the chips fall where they may, I didn't know that if you question someone who spends an inordinate amount of time in Israel, who goes to dinner with Benjamin Netanyahu, who, as a Jewish person, has strong connections to Israel, I didn't know that it was anti-Semitic to say, hey man, is your priority America or Israel? That's, and it's, to me, it's the equivalent of someone saying to me, and it's like, Whitlock, I hear you talking about you want to lose weight, but is your priority keeping your friendship with Ronald McDonald, or is it shrinking your waistline? It's just a legitimate, fair question that anybody could ask. I don't think it's racist. I don't think it's faddist. I don't think it's anything. It's just a legitimate question. But I started asking those questions as it related to the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro, and the next thing you know, I'm in the crosshairs, and allegedly I'm anti-Semitic. October 7th happens. I, like a lot of people, I'm like, whoo, boy, October 7th, this is a lot to unpack. We've been through so many of these international events and terrorist attacks, and we do a show called Conspiracy Weary or Conspiracy Leery. I can't remember, but it's just like why people are, it's like, hey, here you on October 7th. It was horrible what happened, but we want to figure out who's behind it, who's benefiting. We just want some more information before jumping to any conclusions about what America should do about it. It's a perfectly legitimate position to have. That got me in the crosshairs with Ben Shapiro. I was getting criticized along with Tucker Carlson. Let's play a little excerpt example.
Jason Whitlock, for some odd reason, who, again, I like Jason. I know Jason. I like a lot of his work. Jason has decided that it's important to sound off to me generally and say, well, you know what? You have to understand why people are not so exercised about babies being killed in their beds, in their room. I mean, after all, there have been a lot of conspiracy theories out there. Yeah, I know. What's the conspiracy theory to which you're referring right now that people should give credence? What is it? Seriously, spell it out for me. I'd like you to spell it out. What is the conspiracy theory that leads people to somehow draw a morally ambiguous line here? Explain it to me in short words.
We've been fed so much bad information about historic events that we have what the theme of today's show is, we're conspiracy weary. We're conspiracy leery. The thing I thought about watching Ben Shapiro get upset with Andrew Tate and others as I've watched Ben's Twitter feed, and he's very outraged and justifiably so, but he seems very upset that everybody doesn't have the same level of outrage, the same level of emotion about this event that he does. I've seen a lot of this where people are policing other people's thoughts and emotions about what's going on in Israel, between Israel and Hamas, Israel and Iran, Israel and Palestinians. People are, hey, this is how you should feel. And we're getting all these images of the atrocities that happen in Israel, and everybody's commenting, how can you not be outraged? And this is the face of evil. And there's a lot of stomping of feet of like, this is it. This is the end all be all. And everybody must feel the exact same way that I do about this situation.
I don't even know what he's attempting to say here. You can pause there. You don't have to feel the exact same way that I do, but I would recommend that you at least acknowledge that this is, in fact, the face of evil. That seems like a pretty baseline, decent thing to do. It seems like pretty baseline.
And that sounds like pretty baseline gatekeeping to me. And that sounds like pretty baseline, like, you must think this. And I'm sorry, and I'm saying this authentically. I graduated Ball State with a 2.3. I SAT score 900. I don't know the entire world. I don't. I've never been to Israel. I've never studied the conflict between Palestinians and Jewish people or Israeli people. I don't know. What I do know is that we've had a lot of events happen in America and around the globe that years later we find out, like, oh, it didn't really go down that way. And this group or that group may have allowed this group or that group to do that because they wanted this result or this outcome. And all I was doing was saying, for those of us who don't have dinner with Benjamin Netanyahu, who've never been to Israel, we just want to pump the brakes and figure this out and get some more information, because we don't want to be emotionally manipulated into doing something that's not in our best interest. That's all I was saying. And I understand why Ben, and I'm giving him the grace of like, hey man, he's got family there, he visits there, He's friends with Benjamin Netanyahu. I got it. I'm gonna give him some grace. I get why he's upset. But he has to, at some point, step into my shoes and other people's shoes and understand why we're just like, man, we got problems right here at home. We got attacks on free speech. We got adults sexualizing kids. We got women protesting on the street so they can abort their babies on command. We got racial division and conflict here that seems orchestrated. We got people sitting in prison over January 6th, innocent people that did nothing. And so I'm not going to apologize. That's my priority. I'm America first. That does not mean I'm indifferent, but I'm not a dog that's going to jump on command. Just not me. And it never will be. So that's my beef with Ben Shapiro. I'm not accusing him of anything. I get why he's emotional or why he was emotional, but there will be people that could watch that and listen to that explanation of Ben. It's just like, hey, Whitlock, you have to acknowledge this is the face of evil. How would I know? Because you told me? Again, and I'm not saying that to say that I'm indifferent to what I believe happened on October 7th. But I've just lived long enough and been fooled enough that I just want some more information before I'm willing to say, well, that's the face of evil. I mean, because, you know, there's a group of people right now, there's a group of leftists like Donald Trump, he's the face of evil. And they got some story about why he's the face of evil. I don't buy it. So that's my beef with Ben Shapiro, number 37.